Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Unreasonable Family podcast. Now, we have been on hiatus for a while with actually posting a podcast to our stream here. We've been doing some restructuring of what we do as a company, as what we do as a couple for a long time. So this is just kind of our first step back into doing some stuff. This first one back is more of a conversation about homeschooling. Because Taz thought it was a good subject to start off with, because a lot of people right now are going through homeschooling and the woes and the great parts about it. And this conversation isn't necessarily a how-to. It's actually more of two people who disagree. I have different opinions on homeschooling than Taz does, and I think one of the best things to take from this is how steadily Taz handles me being an asshat in this conversation. So when you watch it, know that we don't come to any specific conclusion or this is how you do it or whatever it may be, but you can see how to have this conversation with someone who might be a little resistant or who has a differing opinion. So I would say follow how Taz handles it because she does a fantastic job. And I think our conclusion of the whole thing was, if you do it, you always should be paying attention to whether or not the children are thriving and is your relationship thriving. And that's kind of the goal with everything there. So welcome back. Here's the podcast. Enjoy. And that's what we got.
Okay, so what are we talking about?
We'll do rapid fire. I don't think we should spend too much time. Like usually talk for like 45 minutes.
I don't think they should be 45 minutes.
They should be like 15.
15 to 20 minute podcasts.
Okay, let's do it. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Homeschooling.
Yeah, so you want to talk about homeschooling because it's a hot topic.
It's hot.
It's going to go good. This is going to go well.
Okay, well, yes. Everyone was forced to homeschool for at least a period of, 2 months?
Yeah.
This year? And just to give you an idea of how many people are considering homeschooling in the future, our local homeschooling charter school has an 800-person wait list right now.
Mm-hmm. Went from no wait list to 800.
To 800. And we're a pretty small community here. So, yeah, I just think it would be a great place to start opening up a conversation about homeschooling because we actually disagree about homeschooling.
Yeah, you and I.
Yeah, you and I.
Well, so let's just say what we do. So we've done in the past. We've done homeschooling. Mm-hmm. Like that's what we've been doing for so Oaks is 7 now, Arrow's 4, Fox is 19 months now. Mm-hmm. And for Oaks, we've done homeschooling and a hybrid homeschool program where he goes a couple days a week, and then he's at home the other days of the week. Mm-hmm.
How it works is we get to choose everything we do. The 2 days that he does go to a school setting, they're enrichment days. So they're not leading anything. The teacher communicates with us and we let them know what Oaks is working on. And they have periods where they do work, but it's an open format. They can choose what work they do, which is guided by the teacher.
Right.
And they do music and art and everything outside of that.
Yeah, we liked it.
Yeah.
I think it's been good. I think there's parts of it that we maybe don't like. Mm-hmm. With just kind of it didn't lay out perfectly, right? Like,
well, for me, it's logistics. We live really far away from the place we have to take him now, and I don't like to leave our house. I've realized after this COVID thing, you like it.
Yeah,
I like
taking
you like
him
the
to town.
drive.
I like the drive. I like listening to podcasts. So I don't have much an issue with the drive. I thought, with the actual program though, it's like they don't actually learn that much at school. Like you said, it's just enrichment time. Mm-hmm. So it's not like he's actually learning anything. And then when we're here, there's no, he doesn't have much of an incentive to learn from us either.
Well, I'm okay with the fact that he doesn't learn at school. The thing that I was having trouble with is that it's I think we went in expecting it was going to be similar to a school year where he goes in twice a week and it's just very consistent. But
Right.
it turned out, because it's a charter program, so funding is limited, and so the teachers' funding is limited, there just ended up being a lot of days where he wasn't able to go to school, and which meant he would be at home, which is fine. We're very equipped to handle him at home. It just, there were a lot of those a lot more days than there weren't in the end, and I felt like, well, what's kind of the point?
Right.
He might as well just be at home. It just seems very inconsistent. And then we're also taking Arrow to the school down the road for 2 days, so it was just, for me, it was all logistics. Like, I think the 2 days at school was great. He got to be with friends. He got to have art, music in a really great school that offer art and music, and he still was in an environment where he was kind of forced to do work, or forced to learn a little bit, which I think is
Oaks or
Oaks,
yeah,
which is important, I think.
yeah. I think the most important thing at these ages for me is like the human socialization aspect of it, of like being able to listen to another adult, being able to communicate effectively, being able to get through fights and stuff, like, or bickers with kids or whatever it is. And I think that they do that a lot at home with each other and with us right there, but I don't think they get to do it on their own. And I think that's the value of having them go a couple days. That's for me, like, that's what I've appreciated. Plus, there's like the mental headspace that we need. Like,
oh yeah,
I think we need that time where the kids are not here to either just relax or do the rest of the work that we have, or
yeah. I was like, relax. That sounds nice.
yeah, it would be cool to relax. We don't relax, but it's just there's a headspace difference, right? When we have both kids here, or all three kids here, and when two of them are out and about,
Right. So then, but okay, well, let's just dive deeper. Let's just dive into why we disagree on homeschooling, because you're kind of you're saying like that works for us, but I think ultimately you would like them to go to school full time if they could.
Yeah, I think as they start to get into older ages, it makes sense.
What's older ages?
Well, where he actually needs to learn stuff, where he actually needs to learn like something beyond basic math and creative writing, and like, I just think we can't hold them as accountable as a group of peers could, like everybody doing the same thing. And obviously be paying attention to it, but I think that when they go in and they have that level of consistency of like every day they're sitting down and trying to learn.
But we can create consistency with that here.
I don't think we can.
Why not?
I just don't think we're up for it. I don't think we have the headspace to do that. I don't. Like, when he fights and doesn't want to do it, it's like, I mean, I can do it for that moment, but it's like, it just, I don't want to continue doing that. I don't want that. I'll teach him other skills, but I have my own issues with school.
Right.
So
yeah, what Pat's referring to is that when we sit down to certain topics like writing and English stuff, Oaks is really resistant, and it's almost every time that he gets upset or we get upset, and we've tried to deal with it in like a few different ways.
Strangling, a little squirt gun,
and nothing's been like really positive so far. It's still kind of a struggle.
Yeah.
He has come to accept that he just has to do it, but at the same time, I don't think so. That's where I struggle, is that, okay, sure, Oaks doesn't like this subject now. How much do you push a child into forcing them to do something? Because that's the point for me, is homeschooling, that they get to pave their way, right? They get to decide to a certain point, like, what they want to learn more of, what they're interested in. But for me, there's non-negotiables like writing and math. They're non-negotiables to me. But how much do we push him into like just writing for the sake of writing, or and we've tried different things like typing on a computer, and so we've tried to approach it from different angles, and I wonder if maybe it's even just an age thing, like maybe he's just not ready to write the things that we're asking him to write, or but I'm not willing to give up. Like I'm in this homeschooling thing for however long we can do it.
Take a nap.
And I do have really, really good intentions, and like you said, like I don't think they aren't acted upon as much as I would like them to, but I do have like ideas, and I do have like ways that I think we can make it work. But like you said, I think it's just we don't have the capacity to put all our efforts into it.
No, and I don't think we ever will. If we have 3 kids who are continually coming of age, different ages, and we have to teach them different things, and then we have our 2 businesses, and we have the rest of the ability to try to have some free time here and there, to have some you and me time, and then like the fact that we are with them 24/7, it's like it doesn't make sense to me. It's like you're going to have no headspace to do any sort of teaching or learning. You're going to be at your wit's end, your shortest fuse all the time. So like I just don't think learning can happen in that scenario. Like when I don't think teaching can happen in that scenario because you're just too far gone. You're too far. I'm too far at my wit's end. Like I think a lot of people found that out when this COVID thing happened. It was like that time away from your kids allowed you to be better than once your kids were home. You know, there's obviously some people who aren't better when they get home because they bring home baggage and stuff. But it's like that whole absence makes the heart grow fonder thing. Like if you never get time away, like you don't respect the time that you do have with them. And I think that that's important. Now,
But is it important enough to send your kid to a school that they're learning stuff they don't want to learn and that they're, in an environment that you're not controlling, especially at these younger ages?
Well, that's why we don't do it, is because we don't think it is important enough
right
now. But I think as they get older and more, crave a little bit more autonomy and they just don't want to be with us as much.
But we can give them that autonomy around projects. Like,
no, we can't.
Why not?
Because what if he doesn't want to do the project? We're just going, what do you
No, but
do
that's what
your
I'm saying.
project?
When you're older, you can rationalize with a child. Like even Oaks, like he's getting much better at being like, okay, well, it's math time. I've got to do it. Like there's only one thing he pushes back on is writing. Literally, that's the one thing. Everything else he's very engaged in, and I think that's just because we haven't found a way to like kind of trick him into enjoying it.
It's because it's not enjoyable. Writing's fucking stupid.
But that might be a problem. My hope would be that Oaks would continue to be able to do a hybrid program all through his schooling. I think sending a kid to school 5 days a week is a lot. It's a lot of time away from the people who we want him to be the most influenced by. Like I don't want other young kids I want to influence his like decisions at this age. They don't know what the heck they're doing. I want his influence to be by us and other mentors that we've, our friends' kids that we kind of, and I'm not saying that I don't want him to make mistakes and get in fights and all that stuff, but just at this age, like this is when he learns how to make those good decisions so that when we do put him into the world later on.
For sure, at this age, he's 7.
Yeah.
We have another, say when he's 10, it's like, that's only 3 years from now. And they're going to crave a lot more social interaction. And I want him to have friends who go surfing, and I want him to have friends who play baseball, and I want him to have friends who do sports teams, and like all of these things are such a struggle when you have to go to them without having them connected to a larger entity like a school.
But maybe if he's not driven to do those things, then it's like.
Well, nobody's driven to do those things unless they see people do it. I guess some
that's
people
not true.
innately have
You
it.
and I are very different. I didn't do anything as a child because other people were doing them. I did it because I wanted to do them. Most of my friends didn't do all the sports I did. I would do ballet. I tried this. I tried that. Like, I was just drawn to sports. And maybe, I was at a school, so there's obviously other people doing it, but it was, and even now, like I'm intrinsically motivated to do sport or exercise or, I think all kids are different. And I agree with you, Oaks is definitely influenced by his peers. So if he was around people doing those things, he would be more inclined to do them. So I think that's true for Oaks. It might not be true for Arrow, but...
Yeah, but I don't think that those things will happen if we don't have him available for sports teams and stuff. Like, you don't even know what American baseball is, let alone want him to play it, let alone make the time to have him go do practices and stuff.
Well, then why haven't you done that? Why haven't you made the time to, if it's important
because
to you?
I don't think it's possible to be doing
But
from the
there's
location
clubs.
but I don't think we can do it from the location that we're at.
What?
Like, I don't think that we can make that happen to like drive in. Like, I think it's just too much of an investment if it's not already connected to like the school or not already connected to other things that are going on.
I don't think at his age you can play sports at school. I think they're all
I'm not saying
club.
at his age. I'm saying as they get older, when he's like, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, these really formative years where you do these club events and club sports with your classmates. You hang out with them at class all day, and then you go and you play these sports all day, and then it's like you create these bonds that you never ever form later in life. Like you don't make these friends later in life, and then all of a sudden he ends up as an adult and he doesn't have these friends. He doesn't have these connections. He doesn't have any desire to play any team sports because he's never been there.
It just sounds like this is something that you feel very strongly about, like that you had in your childhood.
Yeah, I did.
And
For
so
sure.
you're concerned that if he doesn't have that, something's going to it's going to impact him somewhere along the line.
Absolutely. These are the best times of my life. Those are
Those are the best times of your life.
my favorite experiences of my childhood.
But you
years.
love to play sport.
Exactly.
Oaks has not really shown a huge desire for sport.
No, but he
like
loves
Arrow
going to the
does.
beach, and he loves
Yeah, but that's
he
not
loves
sport.
swimming.
That's
It doesn't matter.
playing.
But I know. But like those are really fun things to do with friends. To like go to the beach and jump off the rocks with friends. To go boogie boarding with
but
friends.
we do that
like,
with friends.
But we do it with two groups of people. When he gets
Well,
older, he
that's
won't want to be with
because
those two
we're-
groups of people.
It's because we're only seeing 2 families during COVID.
I know, but outside of COVID too, it's not going to be like that. And I'm saying he needs to expand his horizons. And I don't think we can offer him that when he hits these later ages. I don't think that's possible with homeschooling. And that's why I'm not for homeschooling at the later ages. And I just don't know. It doesn't sound like you're willing to compromise with like even.
No, I'm just trying to understand where you're coming from, because you sound so like as if you've got this proof, this evidence that this is what's going to happen if he... I'm not disagreeing with you. I think all those things are important too. I grew up playing sport, and I grew up at a school. I didn't like school. I never liked school. So I'm also putting in my biases.
Well, I never liked school either.
So then, but you're saying that
I
it's
would
important.
have been a shitty person if I stayed at home with my parents all day.
Right, but
I would have been.
it's
I
a
would have.
very different situation.
I don't think it is. I think we always want to say that because we're different than our parents, but I don't think that's a different situation. I think if you continually spend your time around your parents, you will pick up all of their little things, and you need outside influence.
I agree.
And excessive amounts of outside influence. As soon as you hit more like those pubescent ages, like you shouldn't be involved with your parents as much as it sounds like you want him to be at our house.
Well, I don't know. That's the thing.
Right.
I
But
don't know.
but you, to me it sounds like you have in your head this is how we're going to do it.
No.
Like with homeschooling, and that's
I
how,
said my ideal thing was that he would continue to do 2 days a week, and then the rest of the time he would be at home. But being at home doesn't mean he's just around us all the time. I mean, even now Oaks is very independent. He does most of his own things all day, and
Right.
so it's
But I don't want him to be doing his own things. I want him to be playing with friends because that's what he actually wants to be doing. But we don't do that because we can't do that because we're not a school. Like he says that even. He wants to be with friends. Can we go see friends today? Can we see friends today? Can we see these guys today? And we just have to say no.
well, we don't always say no, love.
I know. There's occasional times where we say yes.
I ask people every day. It's not on our end that we're not able to see people. It's
But
other people's
a school,
schedules.
they would always be there. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not referring to later on in life, but a school now will always be there, and you can't choose your kids' friends at school. And in the past, we have had, when he was younger, when he was in kindergarten, TK, we did have an issue with him getting outside influence from kids in the class, negative influence.
Right.
And again, when he gets older, like, I don't welcome those things, but I think those things are necessary to navigate life. And I'm not disagreeing with you that he should go to school, but I have a hard time believing that a 5-day-a-week school situation from 9 till 3 is the best thing for our children. I'm not referring to anybody else's children, just our children.
Fair enough. And I don't think that, like, when phrased like that, a 5-day, 9 to 5 school thing or 9 to 3 school thing I don't think that's the right option either. I want something in the middle. I want like 3 days a week. All day. Like, literally, like I want them out adventuring all day with friends and having to
But
learn.
school's not adventuring, love. It's not. I think where you're like, I would love our kids to be hanging out with their friends all day, and like, I mean, have like.
And forced learning. I think forced learning is important.
Yeah, but forced learning in a setting where you're sitting at a desk and you're learning in a very one-dimensional way, like
Right.
that doesn't suit all kids. And I know things are progressing, and there's definitely different options out there. But I think it sounds like for us that some sort of homeschool group where it's like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, they go to Jim Bob's house and.
Yeah, but I just don't think there's the right people.
So 800 people. You're saying there's let's say, I don't know how many charters there are currently in the district, but let's throw out a percentage. Like let's say 25% of the county are homeschooling, and you don't think that there's a group of homeschoolers out there that are going to have the same values as us? Do you think that they all just want to homeschool their kids because
No, I think there's
to
one.
keep them at home and to shelter them?
No.
So are you?
But I don't want them in someone else's house. I don't want that kind of an influence. That's not a neutral influence to me. I feel like a school is a relatively neutral influence. I feel like another parent is not a neutral influence.
But if it's a parent that we trust, like.
But that's gonna. Yeah, I just don't see how that would work. I don't know.
That's what people do all the time, right? That's currently what homeschoolers do. They create groups and.
Yeah, but have you met them?
Oh my God! Yes, I have met them. The difference, I think, there's a lot for us. We're not religious, and that is a big homeschooling population here in Santa Cruz. And I think I'm sure there's a lot of non-religious groups, but so far that's what I found, and that might be an issue for us. Maybe it's not. I think it's just they all have one thing in common and they get together and But I don't. I think that there's people out there that are the same as us. Like,
Okay.
just like, what do you think? What are you worried about? Like, what do you like? You think that their intentions are different to ours, or why do you think they're homeschooling their kids that it makes you concerned?
I don't know.
Like,
I guess we'll just have to cross this bridge when we come to it.
Well, we're kind of at it now because if Oaks is going to be homeschooled next year, and if we want to have more outside influence other than the 2 days a week.
Well, I just don't know where we're going to meet these people, or how we're going to vet these people.
There's many forums online.
Or how we're going to vet these people, or how we're going to vet their kids. Like, it's just.
But you're okay just sending them to a school where you don't know the people?
Yeah, it's like
But that's the same thing because these kids are
No.
parented by these parents that you're so-called talking about.
Yeah, but they're in like a sterile environment.
Honey, there is recess, there's lunch, there are plenty of opportunities for other kids to influence our children.
No, I get that, but it's in a neutral environment.
But it's not like bullying and like
Yeah.
just like one conversation can hurt a kid.
But that's life. Like, that's what life's about.
Right, but then isn't it the same as what you're saying about like sharing life with other people who have the same interests?
I mean, there's processes you go through to become a teacher. There's not processes you go through to become another homeschool parent, or to even be a parent. You just have to have sex one time. It's like,
Well,
it's so
right.
like I think that non-neutral space of being somebody else's house versus like, this is just where we all come to school.
Okay.
There's like,
We don't go to a house, but we meet at a park.
I'm just saying there's hesitations that I have with all of there's like, I just don't know if that's a great place for growth. I don't know. It scares it. I guess it scares me, and I just don't. I don't know. I don't know how we'll handle it.
I mean, we'll just handle it, right?
Right.
You don't like looking towards the future.
No, I hate looking towards the future. I hate it so much. So I don't think we resolved anything.
I don't think the point was to resolve it. I think the point is to let people out there know that, homeschooling is hard.
Mm-hmm.
And we have these discussions often. We talk about the differences and why we want to homeschool, why we don't want to homeschool often. And I think some people are very like, we're homeschooling and we're into it, we've bought in, this is how we're going to do it, like they're bought in. But I think a lot of the people are like us, where we're like, we're doing the minimum that we feel like we can do with homeschooling. I want to be doing a lot more. There's so much more that I want to be doing with Oaks and Arrow. Arrow actually he wants to learn.
Oh yeah.
He's very, and we're not really providing that.
Because we don't have the space. We don't have the mental space to teach Oaks, who doesn't want to learn, to teach Arrow, who does want to learn, and to parent the baby. And then as soon as all three of them are in those learning places, it's like, how the hell are we going to do that? We're not. Like, we're not going to be able to do that. And that's what I'm saying. Is
but I think
it's not possible with one kid and a half kid who wants to.
I think we're in that space, though, where, for me anyway, I still believe that we're doing... Oaks is, in terms of actual, curriculum and how he's performing great.
Fine, yeah.
Great. He's on his little tests that he has to do every 3 months. He's acing them all. So it's like, in terms of Oaks actually performing well in how
but that's not my issue.
I know, that's why we don't care. We don't care about that necessarily, but that's also why that's one of the reasons why you want to send him to school. But I think if we can get a handle on all the other stuff and actually deciding what is important, for me, I still think the benefits of having him at home outweigh the benefits of sending him to school. So
Right.
And I think as soon as that starts to completely tip over and we're completely over our heads, then we'd have to consider something else.
Right.
But right now, I'll just repeat, it's really hard. It's not for everyone, but everyone can do it if they really want. Obviously, if they have the means, we're very lucky that we are both home all the time.
Right.
And we run our own businesses. So for people who aren't in this privileged situation that we're in, it's just not even an option.
No.
And I think a part of Pat probably is kind of wishes we were in that situation, so we'd be forced to send them to school.
No, because then I wouldn't be at home.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I don't know. I see a lot of value in what we're doing with them, and I think they're learning a lot, and I love spending the time and just having the freedom to, because the benefits for me are having the freedom to kind of do whatever you want. Where it's it's 9 a.m., let's go to the beach, and not remotely feeling bad about that. But I just don't think that that's going to be okay once they're 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, these times where they should be out dating and hanging out. And,
Dating's the thing.
Yeah. Where's a homeschooler find people to date?
Oh my God.
Those are the most exciting times in life.
Of your life. There are
Yeah.
exciting times in your life.
No. Everyone's life. Just because you hated all
Hey,
men.
I had a boyfriend at the age of 14 to 17. So I'm not it's not like I was I didn't date, but it wasn't it was a part of my life, but it wasn't,
You're a lady.
Okay.
Man.
I don't know. I think there's plenty of ladies out there who think it's important too.
For sure. But I don't think there's
I
many
just
men
think
who
when
don't.
we move forward, we should put both of our prejudices and past aside in making decisions, because
Okay, so what's the larger vision then?
I think the larger vision is if there's a tipping point, if we've reached that tipping point and we can't handle what we're currently doing and the boys aren't thriving, I think that is what it comes down to. Are they
How do
thriving?
you define the boys thriving?
Well, I think if all their needs are met, all their needs are always met with, they've got food, they've got shelter, they have our love, those three things every day are.
Well, the love goes when we spend too much time with them.
The patience goes
Right.
when we spend
well,
too much
the ability
time.
to externally express love goes when we spend too much time with them.
But I also think that comes down to scheduling and making sure that it's not, when you have your time, it's your time, and you leave and you go and do your thing to get away. And I think if maybe every 2 to 3 weeks, if that needs to be a whole day, then we need to communicate that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
Whole day. Ooh, that'd be good.
because I think for me, being parents, it's the most important role that we have,
For
and
sure.
we have to sacrifice other things, even though it doesn't feel like a sacrifice, but essentially it is. You feel like it's a sacrifice.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, I think we're very different in that way. you know, it's hard for you to give up your free time because that's what keeps you mentally intact.
Keeps me alive.
That's what.
It's the only reason I live.
That's what enables you to be a good father and a good husband.
Right.
But for me, like, I just need, like, I think more snippets of smaller periods of time, and I can kind of cope.
Right.
So, are they thriving in our definition?
Are they thriving? Are we thriving?
Exactly. If we're not thriving, then they're not thriving.
Right.
And I think that's the bottom line, is that if we're not thriving, then we need to address that. Why aren't we thriving? And we've hit this roadblock many times, and we're not thriving, I think, because it's when you're not getting the time that you need.
Yeah,
I'm not feeling
we've sorted
supported.
that out right now. And again, like, this is all future stuff I'm talking about. Like, I feel like everything right now is working fine.
Well, that's because Oaks is kind of on a bit of a homeschool vacation.
Sure, but I also think that everything right now is working fine. I think it's just a matter of a couple years that it's going to be too overwhelming. And that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And we just need to keep having the conversation.
Yeah. Thriving.
Surf thriving.
Surthrival.
Surf thrival. Surf thrival. It's another podcast.
Everybody, thank you for listening to that. Thank you for watching it if you watched it. Again, like I said, it was Taz Moore showing you how to deal with somebody who's a stubborn ass, and that would be me. So, hopefully you enjoyed it. We are going to hopefully be putting one of these out every, I would say, once a month at least, maybe a little bit more often, depending on how we can fit this all into our schedule. We also want to bring on new guests and talk about some fun, lovely subjects like we always do. Thank you for listening. Hope everything went well.